Hi everyone, this is May with Hunter's Customer Success Team, and today we are going to be reviewing a full on-demand demo of Hunter's platform. We're going to review how to use Hunter at each step of your workflow, from sourcing and verifying leads to sending outreach. You can follow along with me as we explore each tool using your own data if you'd like. First, we're going to start with Hunter Discover, which can help us find new companies of interest. This is a great place to start if you're coming to Hunter without any other company or contact data. First and foremost, to navigate to Hunter Discover, simply click the Discover tab on the left navigation panel. You can see our filtering menu right here on the left-hand side. If you'd like to create a search in Hunter Discover, you'll have to select values within a couple of these filters to determine what types of companies you'd like to see. For example, we have filters like headquarters location, industry, and size to help you refine your search to find only companies that matter to you. You can see here in our saved searches, we already have a search titled US Dentists. That's because I've already made this search and saved it, and now I'm going to show you how we got there. First up, I used the headquarters location filter to filter for companies that are in the United States only. If you are using the headquarters location to refine your search, please note that you can select multiple locations, and you can even exclude some locations from your search. After denoting where I would like to search for these companies, I'm also going to enter in a couple of filters that describe what type of company I'm looking for. First up, we'll use the industry filter. When looking for industries, you can easily scroll through our list, or you can begin typing to see if we have a match. And we can see here that we do have a match for dentists. That said, selecting only the dentist filter in the industry leaves us with only about 1,300 results. While that's not a bad list, it definitely doesn't describe all of the dental practices that we might find in the United States. So what's happening? Well, we need to add more filters. First up, the industry. We can add additional filters here if we'd like to, and for this specific search, I would recommend adding a filter like medical practices. As we know, dentists are medical providers, and sometimes a dentist office may be part of a larger medical practice group, so it's important to include all of the industries that might be relevant. We can see that by adding that secondary industry filter, our results have jumped up to over 170,000 companies. That's great to see, but it's too large of a list for us to go through manually, and we know that we've polluted our results a bit with medical practices that may not have anything to do with dentistry. To solve this, I would recommend adding in keywords using our keyword filter to refine your results further. Using this filter, we can enter in specific keywords that describe the types of companies that we're looking for. If you're working in a particular niche, you might use this instead of the industry filter, or if you're working in a very large industry, you can use this to further refine your results, like I'm doing now. I'll go ahead and enter in a couple of keywords that I think are relevant for my search, and we'll check in on the results after I'm finished. Alright, and as we can see, I've entered in 4 keywords here, all of which help describe the type of company that I'm looking for. You can see I've also selected match any of these, because I'd like to pull in any companies that have any of these keywords attached. If you're using keywords that are synonyms to try and get a larger pool of results, that is the correct filtering to use. If you are instead trying to get super specific with your niche, match all of these keywords might be a more helpful filter for you. And you can see, just by adding those 4 keywords, our results from just dentists alone were only about 1,300 companies. And now, with a more complete list, we have almost 4,000 companies to save and prospect through. As a note, no credits are counted in Discover until you start finding email addresses. That means you can try out as many search combinations as you'd like to find what filters best fit your use case. Once we're happy with the results we've gotten from our Discover search, we have a couple of different actions we can take. Like I showed you in the beginning, if we want to come back to the search later, we can always save the search criteria right here at the top with this Save button. Additionally, if you'd like to save some or all of these companies, you can select the Save Companies option right here at the top to save them to your Hunter leads list. When saving company leads in Hunter, you will have the option to save them to an existing list or to a new list. Now that we've gone ahead and defined our customer profile and saved some company leads in Hunter, we finally have a place to start finding email addresses. There are multiple ways to find email addresses within Hunter, but since we're already in Hunter Discover, we'll start here. When in the results page for Discover, you can select any of the companies you see here to learn more information about them, and prospect through their email address results. You can see here I've already revealed this email address, but I haven't yet revealed this email address, so it's obscured. With email addresses that have already been revealed, you can save them as a lead, either to a new or existing list, and you can even add them to a campaign directly from this view. Additionally, if we'd like to start a bulk search to find email addresses for some or all of these companies, we can do so by selecting the Find Email Addresses button right up top here. That option will trigger a bulk domain search using the company list provided. You have the option to set how many email addresses you'd like to retrieve per domain, as well as the types of email addresses you'd like to see in your results file. For example, you could choose to only receive email addresses that belong to a person or that belong in specific departments. Before moving on, we will provide you with an estimate for how many email addresses have been matched, as well as how many search credits will likely be needed to download your results. If that estimate is okay with you, you can continue your search right here. While the search is being prepared, you can absolutely navigate away from this window, and we will always notify you in the notification center once your bulk is ready. Now that we've reviewed how to find companies through Hunter Discover, prospect through results, and find emails, let's move on to finding emails when we do have some data to start with. In the Finder tab, you will find both our domain search and our email finder features. You can see here you have two options: find email by company or find email by name. Finding email addresses based off of the company name or domain that you have is called the domain search. It is super easy to get started. All you are going to do is enter in the company name or domain that you currently have to work with. As you can see, after entering in our company name or domain, our results page will populate. When reviewing email address results, we have a couple of different views that can help you easily serve up the email addresses that matter to you. If you'd like to see email addresses just generally divided by department, the All People tab will have that available for you. Additionally, if we find any specific decision makers within the company, we'll have them in their own tab in the middle, and any generic email addresses can be found right at the end there, and they can all be revealed for just 1 credit. Additionally, if you're trying to refine results by a bit more than just the department, we have 4 different filters up top here. You can filter email addresses by the type of email address available, the department associated with that email address, the specific job title associated with that email address, or by the available data points for that email address. If you see a result that you're interested in, you can reveal the email address for 1 search credit as shown here. Once the full lead record has been revealed, you will be able to see any data points that are available for the lead, such as full name, the email address, a phone number or social media profiles, and their position title. You can also see any sources we have for the information, and you can take actions on this lead by saving them to your Hunter lead list or adding them to a campaign. Additionally, if you have a bit more information to start with and you'd like to find email by the person's name, you can navigate over to our email finder. Just like the domain search, the email finder is super easy to get started with. All you need to do is fill out the full name of the contact you're looking to find the email for, as well as their company name or domain. Here's a quick example. If we're able to find a match for your result, you will see the full results page as shown here, including the full name of the contact, the email address we found, the verification status for the email address, as all of these emails come pre-verified, the position title for this contact, and social media profile / phone number when available. Additionally, any public sources we found for this result will be listed at the bottom. And just like before, we can take multiple actions for this lead, such as saving them to a Hunter lead list or adding them to a campaign. Additionally, if you have a list of contacts or companies that you'd like to find email addresses for, you can do so by navigating to the bulk section on your sidebar navigation panel. You can see here we have a couple of different actions available in bulk, 2 of which are the domain search and the email finder, which we just reviewed. First, let's go ahead and review the bulk domain search. Once we navigate to the bulk domain search, you can see we have a dashboard here, which will list any previous bulks that you've completed in case you need to review them at a later date. If you are just getting started, or if you need to start a new bulk, you can go right here to the top right-hand side. Starting this bulk is similar to the one that we started in Discover, but this time we're entering in the company names that we'd like to search rather than pulling them from Hunter. Step 1 is to enter in our list name, and then choose the type of input that we'd like to use today. You can use either domain names or company names, although we do recommend domain names for the best match rate. Once you've decided on the type of input you'd like to use today, you can either copy and paste the domains right into the text box here, or you can upload a CSV, Excel, or text file. In step 2, we'll get to set any preferences we'd like to for the search. For example, we get to decide how many email addresses we'd like to pull per domain. We can choose whether or not we'd like to verify the email addresses at the same time, which will use additional credits from our plan. We can choose whether or not we'd like to see our sources in the result file. And if you've uploaded a file for your input type, you can choose to keep all of the columns from your original file in the result. We also have a couple of filters regarding the types of email addresses you might want to retrieve. Once our preferences are all set, we can go ahead and click Upload. You can see here that our file is being prepared. This is a small file, but if your file is larger, it might take a bit of time, so feel free to navigate away from the page, and you will be notified when your file is ready. Once your results are ready, you have the option to either import the results as leads into your Hunter Leads list, or download them into a CSV file. Either way, whatever option you choose, we will let you know how many credits will be charged by accessing the results before you do so. Next up, let's review how to find email addresses in bulk with the Bulk Email Finder. Again, any previous bulks performed will be listed in your dashboard, and if you'd like to create a new bulk, you can do so at the top right. To get started with the Email Finder, we'll go ahead and enter in a list name and then upload our bulk file. At the bottom here, we do have two options available for this search. We can either choose to include sources for our email addresses, which I will select because I'd like to know where my data is coming from. And we also have the option to skip rows that already have email addresses. This can be helpful if you're uploading a file that has some email addresses, but you need to enrich it. Once we click Upload, we'll be asked to match the columns in our file. This is because Hunter needs at least a full name and a company name or domain in order to complete the search. We will try to automatically match the columns whenever possible, but if any adjustments need to be made on this step, please feel free to do so before clicking Validate. And again, we've reached the end and our file is being prepared. If the file is larger, again, totally no worries if you need to navigate away from the page. You'll be notified once your file is ready. And once the file is ready, you will see a brief overview of results, and you'll be able to either import the results as leads or download them into a CSV file. And again, regardless of which option you choose, we will always let you know the cost and credits before you access these results. Last but not least, there is one other place where we can find email addresses, and that is in the Leads tab. You can see within Leads, we have a tab for People Leads and a tab for Company Leads. In order to find email addresses from company leads, you can select any companies that you would like to search for and click Find Email Addresses. This can be done one by one or in bulk. This functions super similarly to the search we performed in Discover, as well as the bulk domain search. You'll get a chance to set any preferences for your search, and at the bottom we will show you how many email addresses we've matched and the estimated credits needed for your search. Once you continue, your bulk will start being prepared. Additionally, in the People Leads tab, if you have any leads that do not currently have an email address, you can absolutely use the Email Finder functionality to find an email address directly in Leads. So now we've completed a workflow where we took data that we already had, as well as some data we found in Hunter, and we retrieved email addresses to build a lead list. Within Hunter Leads, you can store, manage, and organize your lead lists. That said, if you're working with another tool, you might want to export your email address results from Hunter. Premium users have the option to export results in multiple places. You can export email addresses from Leads by selecting any leads that you would like to export, clicking these three little dots here, and then clicking Export. Not to worry, you can also do this with company leads, not just people leads. Additionally, you can choose to export leads from a single search, as shown here. And of course, as we reviewed earlier, you can always download your results into a CSV file from a bulk search. As a quick recap, we have used Hunter to find leads and email addresses, and now we can move on to the next step of verifying our data. This ensures that any email addresses we're using, either from Hunter or from outside sources, are valid, deliverable, and will not cause bounce. When searching for email addresses in Hunter, some of the results will come pre-verified. You can see here that the leads we have a 100% valid rating as they have already been verified. Additionally, any results from the email finder will be verified automatically. If we're not able to pre-verify the email address, we'll always give you the option to verify the email address on the spot within Hunter. And not to worry, if you save any email addresses that have not yet been verified, you're always welcome to verify them later in either leads or when getting ready to send a campaign. If you're looking to just verify a single email address you found either in Hunter or from an outside source, you can do so under the Verifier tab on your sidebar navigation panel, which will bring up the single-use email verifier. All you have to do to get started with the email verifier is enter in the email address you'd like to verify. After the email address has been verified, we will provide you with the verification status, as well as some details on what we did to verify the email address. For example, some of the more common checks we perform are going to be on format, server status, type, and email status. This tells us whether or not the email address is valid, active, and can receive mail. If we have any sources for the email address when you verify it, we will provide them at the bottom. And just like any other lead records in Hunter, you can take multiple actions, such as saving the lead to a Hunter lead list or adding the lead to a campaign. If you'd like to verify a list of email addresses in bulk, you can do so using our bulk email verifier. Just like in our other bulk tools, you can see that the dashboard here will display any previous bulk files that you've processed. And to create a new bulk verification file, you can go to the top right. Once you've entered in your list name to get started, you can enter your email addresses either using our text box provided or by uploading a CSV or text file. And if you'd like, you can ask us to include any sources we find for the email addresses in your file. Once everything looks good here, you can select Upload. Before your file is processed, we will ask you to confirm the credit cost of the verification. If that's all right with you, click Launch and your file will begin processing. In the results preview page, we'll give you a quick overview of the verification statuses within your file, and we will give you the option to download your entire results file in a CSV. Alright, now that we've used Hunter to find leads and email addresses, as well as verify the email addresses we found, we can start organizing our cold email campaigns. Since we already have some leads loaded into Hunter, I'm going to start in my Hunter leads list. As you can see on the side here, I have a couple of different lead lists and a couple of different organizational folders. To start a campaign from leads, I can select any leads I'm interested in reaching out to and click to either add them to an existing campaign or to create a new campaign. Additionally, if I have any leads from outside of Hunter that I'd like to make sure end up in my campaign, I can click the Import Leads button right at the top to add in that list. When importing leads, you get to decide whether or not you'd like to import people leads or import company leads. Today, since we're trying to build a campaign, I'll go ahead and import people leads. Just like before, we can choose to create a new list for these leads or to add them to an existing list. And since we know that verifying our data is important, if these leads have not been recently verified, you're welcome to ask Hunter to verify them upon import here. Moving forward with your input, we will ask you to match up any columns within your file, and once everything looks okay, you can click Start. Once the import is complete, you'll see a quick recap here, and you can always go straight to your destination list to review those leads. You can also decide to start a campaign directly from the Campaigns tab in Hunter. When we navigate over to the Campaigns tab in our sidebar navigation, we will have our Campaigns settings on the left side, and then our Campaigns dashboard right in the middle. Any active campaigns you have will be listed directly in the middle of the page, and if you'd like to start a new campaign, you can go to the top right. In step 1, we'll go ahead and add the audience to the campaign. You can add recipients to a campaign either from your Hunter leads list, by uploading a CSV file, or manually by copy and pasting email addresses into a text box. Since we just set up our Hunter leads list to contain all of the leads we want in our audience, I'm going to go ahead and select From Leads. Within this screen, we will automatically filter your leads by those who have never been contacted to make it easy for you to add new leads into new campaigns. That said, you can filter your leads however you'd like, based on the list they're in, or based on any other values that we have here. Once you're happy with the recipient list you see here, you can click Add, and you'll see your entire audience within the audience section. Like I mentioned before, if any of the email addresses within your audience have not already been verified, we will give you the option to do so as a last-minute check. This isn't mandatory for emailing in Hunter, but we do recommend it for best results. Once you're happy with the audience list you have, you can move on to the next step, content creation. This section is where you're going to insert all of the copy for your emails. You can add a subject line, compose your email, add follow-ups, and even check the spam score for your content. If you frequently use templates when crafting your emails, we have a template library that you can save templates to here, and you can add them in using this icon right here. Additionally, we've recently released an AI writing assistant in case you need a little help with your campaign content. We'll ask you a couple of quick prompts about your outreach, and then we'll generate an email for you. We can either describe our audience persona here or ask the AI to generate an audience persona based on the audience members we have. We can share more about our business and what problems we're addressing, and we can even select a goal of the campaign. I've just finished filling out this first couple of prompts, and now we can answer more questions about our campaign and the goal of our campaign. Additionally, you can choose the tone you'd like to use for your email, as well as the writing style you'd prefer we use. Additionally, you can let us know how many follow-ups you'd like to generate for this campaign. Once everything is filled out, you can click Generate Content to see your email. And voila, we now have the basics of a campaign that we can edit and customize as we'd like. Once you're happy with the content that you've created for your campaign, you can click Next to go on to the review stage. Within the review step, you can review and edit the campaign per recipient. This can be helpful if you're adding in any extra personalization at the end before sending. This step will also show you that any custom attributes you have are being used correctly. This step will also allow you to send a test email if you'd like to. Once you've reviewed your campaign content and you're happy with it, you can move on to reviewing your campaign settings. Here you'll be able to see any sending mailboxes you have connected to your Hunter account. You can add additional sending mailboxes if necessary, and you can attach a BCC to your email if you would like to. Under each sending mailbox, you can see how many emails have already been sent today, as well as the daily limit for that mailbox. If you need to edit the daily limit before starting your campaign, you can do so here. Within the Settings tab, you can also choose which tracking you'd like to enable, if any, for your campaign, and you can choose the sending window for your campaign. Last but not least, an unsubscribe sentence will be inserted automatically to your campaigns, but you can edit or disable that here. Once your settings have all been reviewed and you're good to go, you can click Launch to start your campaign. Before your campaign is launched, we will give you a quick overview of the settings you've chosen, and if everything looks great, you can click Schedule the campaign. You can see here our new campaign is now being prepared, and emails are being crafted. And now we've completed a full workflow with Hunter that has allowed us to prospect for company and people leads, to verify our data, and to send cold outreach. That said, we know that the job doesn't end once cold outreach has been sent, and Hunter has multiple different features to ensure that you're able to review and analyze your campaign results. First and foremost within campaigns, we have the Inbox tab. This tab will show you any replies you've received to your campaigns within Hunter. When you receive a reply, any future emails scheduled in that campaign for that recipient will be canceled. If by getting that reply you've accomplished the goal of your campaign, you can mark that recipient as successful, or you can reply directly from Hunter to keep the conversation going. Additionally, we have the Engagement tab right here, which will allow you to review any recipients that have been opening or clicking your email campaigns. Within the Reporting tab, all premium users can see more advanced analytics for their campaigns. You can review aggregate analytics, analytics per campaign, and analytics over time. You can also review your top campaigns based on different metrics, and you can export the data found here. If you'd instead like to review the activity of active campaigns, you can head over to the Queue tab. This tab will allow you to review your current outbox, as well as any other scheduled emails in your queue. If you need to adjust any of your default settings, you can do so in the Campaign Settings menu. If you'd like to review or add any templates to your template library, you can do so in the Templates tab. And although Hunter does manage unsubscriptions automatically, assuming you are using an unsubscription link, you can still manage and review your unsubscriptions manually within this view. If you're using Hunter in combination with other tools like a CRM, we do have some available integrations that might be helpful for you. Currently, we have 4 native CRM integrations. We have an integration with HubSpot, Pipedrive, Salesforce, and Zoho. If you're using any other third-party CRMs or other sales tools, we do have connections with both Zapier and Make to support any other third-party connections you'd like to set up. Hunter can be a great tool for individual contributors, but if you're working with a team, you can easily manage your team workspace by going to the Team section under your account settings here. To create a team workspace, all you need to do to get started is to invite other team members. When creating a team workspace, you have 3 different options to invite new team members. The first option is to invite via company email. This will allow anyone within your company domain to join your team workspace when signing up for Hunter. Alternatively, if you'd like to have a bit more control over who you allow into your team workspace, you can invite using an activation link or invite using an email. Now that we've reviewed how to use Hunter at each step of your workflow, as well as how to use Hunter with other integrations and team members, we've wrapped up our demo. That said, if you have any additional questions after our demo, please don't hesitate to reach out to our support team via chat here or via email at contact@hunter.io. We would love to hear from you, and every 2 weeks we also hold a live demo, so feel free to come by and ask us any questions you might have. Thanks so much and happy hunting!